Good morning, everybody. This is Judith A. Cole. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. I think in real time, we are definitely watching spiritual warfare. I mean, the number of people who seem to be waking up and realizing, nothing is what we thought it was, particularly in terms of like the U.S. government, um, voting, these politicians, education, things that we were taught to believe were true. We're not necessarily believing them anymore. It's that season. I think the age of Aquarius has begun or something like that. I don't know all the names of this stuff, but energetically, we're living through times uh, in history that either A, haven't ever happened before, or B, when they happened, it was revolutionary. And I think the veil is thin. People are speaking to us. We are seeing things. We are feeling things. Um, we got 3A, what is a 3I Atlas still out here coming from a whole nother, it's interstellar. And it's not coming from our, you know, I forgot the word all of a sudden, but it's not something, it's definitely traveling through, but it doesn't come from any universe we're familiar with. It's interstellar. So it's very fascinating, and energetically it's doing things that we can't really process. Scientific people process it one way, spiritual people are processing it another way. People definitely feel like they're being upgraded energetically. Our bodies are being upgraded, things are changing, and everybody's not going to make it. Everybody's not going to make it to the energetic uptick, whether it's spiritual or physical. Um, the better shape you're in, the better the transition will be for you. Um, and I do think it's spiritual. I do think it's energetic. I do think it's things that we've been taught to dull, those senses, those that intuition, the things that you used to stay alive before technology was around. We've been taught to pretty much dull those things, so that we don't think too much or feel too much. I was watching something. I had to turn it off. I'm like, I can't go to sleep to this. This is too dark. But just people explaining how your cell phone is basically the tool of the most warfare against you as a human. Because people, I don't do this, but a lot of people just stare at their phones all day long. If I'm staring at my phone, it's usually to get something done or accomplished. It's near me, of course, but it doesn't take all my attention. I don't doom scroll. I may spend some time laughing. My Instagram is really designed to make me laugh. And TikTok I'm on spiritual talk, so a lot of the stuff I'm listening to on there is spiritual or it's about Puffy or something crazy like that. But, even Puffy, I think Puffy's a great example of spiritual warfare. It happened right under our noses. He and I are the same age. Uh, I was around when his ascent happened, and everybody just thought it was cool. Like, oh, he wasn't my favorite rapper. I didn't think he was very talented at that. And when he was younger, it was cool to watch him dance. Uh-oh. Ooh, sorry about that. But, when you get older, your muscles and your joints and everything don't move the same. So watching him dance now like he did when he was 25, it don't hit the same. And you don't look the same, so you need to stop doing all that. But I think ultimately he believed that he had become invincible. And the devil tricks people all the time, making them think, "Oh yeah, you really are that guy. Don't worry about it. You won't have any problems." And you can't tell me, yeah, he's only going to be in prison maybe a year and then he'll be let out. I would say quietly. For most people, it would be quiet, but it won't be quiet for him. And he'll get out and he'll be out in the world, but he's got like a million other lawsuits. Is he going to settle all of them? Is he going to fight all of them? All of that costs money. And I think whoever he angered did this to him on purpose. And I also think there's a spiritual element attacking him. Um, so yeah, I mean, do you guys remember the movie Ghost? I know I'm dating myself, but I'll be honest, that movie was really powerful, and not because it was so sophisticated. It really was a very simple story. And I remember in the theater sitting there watching those tears well up into Demi Moore's eyes like that. And, she had beautiful, like, green eyes. And I was like, man, I want to cry too. This looks sad. But anyway, there was, uh, there was the Patrick Swayze was not alive. So, spoiler alert. So, at a certain point, he could see what was happening to people when they were dying and where they were going. I remember there was one character who gets just dragged off by the devil, obviously. He was screaming and he was just in real distress. And he was scared and all this terrible stuff. That's what I think of when I think of Puffy. Oh, excuse me, dude. I'm so sorry. I wish I was going to edit those out, but I'm not. I haven't yawned all morning. I've been up for hours. But anyway, I just get relaxed doing my podcast. And that's how I know you love me for me because I don't have a fancy podcast anymore. I can't easily add music and sound effects and all the cool stuff Anchor could do. And I yawn. I think one time one of my friends was like, "Don't eat while you're doing it." I did eat like a breakfast pizza or something once. And one of my friends was like, "That sounded horrible." But yeah, I think spiritually, Puffy is battling with something, and something is battling through him. If that makes sense. And then I feel like also people are witnessing that, and I'm surprised by how many men are apologists for him. But then that makes me realize there's something wrong with you. If you can apologize for any of his behavior and you just think somebody's coming after a black man for his money, which I think I heard said the entertainer say yesterday in some snippet, like shame on you, man. Shame on you. He sees that it's wrong to beat up Cassie, but everything else was okay. And that was the problem. That's how it was marketed. It's not illegal to be a freak. But that's how I know it was a scam because the charges didn't match. Uh, I knew if it was going to be a morality play, which is what they turned it into, then it was a scam. They just wanted his blackmail. If they really wanted to put him in prison for the rest of his life, they would have included the child sex trafficking, which I believe happened. There's one girl who swears that he took her from Philadelphia to New York and she was underage and he raped her. That is sex trafficking. And it doesn't matter if somebody looked like she wanted to go or she was texting me or all this crazy stuff they say people say to them. Granted, I've seen text exchanges between grown men sexually abusing 13 and 14-year-old girls that they believed to be their girlfriends. I've seen many messages and I've uh, read their arguments. I've heard their voicemails. Listen, this is ridiculous. You can't have a relationship with a 14-year-old because she's a child. And she can't look at you like she wants it because she's a child. And that's the whole point. She may want to be physically with you because biology is what it is, but you're supposed to be the grown up and look at her and say, hey, you're a child. This isn't for you. I'm not even attracted to you like that. So people like sort of just glossing over all of this uh, are uninformed, but also, that's part of the problem with our society is men love to apologize for other men. And that happened to me. I had a black male who just could not treat me well in the workplace. And I remember standing in another black male's office who I knew before. And I think we both knew each other before we knew the person persecuting me. And, you know, he, I would have said we were friendly, but he was like, look, I just want to see another black person succeed. And I said, but I'm black too. And he just got so angry. And the look he gave me, I was like, okay, this is not a safe space for me. Black men leave a lot of energy for each other. They defend each other. And I'm not saying just black men. I think all men apologize for each other and feel some sort of bond that they're being mistreated by women. But the reality is right and wrong is wrong. And beyond that, to me, healthy is healthy and unhealthy is unhealthy. If something is an unhealthy behavior, if it causes someone harm, then you shouldn't want to be involved in it and you shouldn't co sign it, period. If you see someone anguished, you should at least be able to say, man, if this upsets you that bad, I might need to reserve some space in me for you because that seems terrible. This is bothering you. But nah, you won't get that. You'll get you you need to just let it go. You keep talking about it. Yeah, because it keeps bothering me. And they just run around causing all this trauma, and then they find a reason, whether it's your race or your gender, to bond with you, or bond not with you but with the persecutor. It's deep. It's really, really deep. And if you pull back, you'll see it. There's a lot of men who were on There were a lot of men who hated Kamala Harris. I don't think she was the best candidate. Don't get me wrong, I don't. And the more I learned about her, the more I realized, like, yeah, she might not be great. I was not sold on her. That doesn't mean I was sold on Donald Trump either. I don't understand why we can't get good candidates. Anyway, so I wasn't sold on her, but the number of men who just made it their mission to berate her and talk crazy about her on social media, black men, you know and it was like some of this stuff is just doesn't make sense. It's not grounded in logic. I know you haven't done the work and the research that I've done on her and read the things I've read about her, you know and I was excited for her because she went to Howard. I was rooting for her. But the more I found out about her, and I'm like, oh, they just keep making these blanket promises, and it turns out Obama doesn't care for her at all. And it's like, this is deep. This is really, really, really deep. And, but the men were just so vitriolic towards her. And then you have, um, so I saw that. And then you had all these men who were just like, it ain't illegal to be a freak. She took that money. She did that. That doesn't mean she wasn't abused. Two things can be true at the same time. Cassie was obviously in an abusive relationship. And what people don't understand is these folks are apex predators. They see your weaknesses and they glom onto them and they exploit them. This girl was 19, 20 years old, trying to get her career off the ground. And when somebody who's as big as Puffy, who, without knowing the details, you think, oh, he's taking an interest in me. I must have talent. I got to gut this out because I need to be successful at this. And obviously that's what she wanted. And then when you start introducing drugs, how do you think these people get sex trafficked to stay in it? When a girl gets kidnapped in Indiana and is trafficked all around the world, how do you think that she stays in it? They drug her. They give her drugs. No woman would willingly be like, yeah, I want to have sex with 50 dudes a day and not keep any of the money, get exposed to all the diseases in the world, and not be attracted to any of these people and not want to live like this at all. Would rather kill myself, you know, and be shuttled in and out of hotel rooms in vans, barely fed food, just enough stuff to keep you alive. Yeah, what woman would sign up for that? They give you drugs. Puffy gave her drugs. And for a second I bought into the fact that he was clean at one point in his life. That he's been on drugs and drinking. He just told people, it's like I heard the story once where somebody was on a dating site and was like, yeah, I'm a vegetarian. And the dude was like, yeah, I am too. They go out on a date and he orders meat, like a steak or something. I don't remember what it was, but he ordered something that had a lot of meat in it. And he looks at her, and because she's eating like a salad or something, and he's like, "Oh, you a real vegetarian?" Yes, yes. See what I mean? So I think Puffy was like, "I don't drink or do drugs. Give me some of that drink." You know what I mean? I think he probably lied about that because that's what people like him do. They tell a lot of untruths and think you won't notice. But the problem is they believe the lie. That's when you really start getting into some dark corners. Anyway, I think people who are apologizing for Puffy ought to be ashamed of themselves. Do more research, go deeper in yourself, and be a better human. That's all I can say. You have absolutely no empathy. And maybe they don't. And maybe they won't ever have it. And maybe that's the problem. I don't know. But everybody thinks they're right. And with social media and these cell phones, we get to hear everybody's thought on every single thing all the time. And I don't think we were designed for that. And maybe, we'll get back to living IRL in real life. Go outside, go for a walk, sit in a park, read a book, do things that are tangible and that you enjoy. I'll always suggest watching a good movie. I watched Knocked Up again. Still hilarious. I'm not sure I buy the ending because they never seemed like it was a stretch that they would be a good couple. But Seth Rogen is really, really capable of evoking a lot of empathy. He seems in that movie for sure. He just seems like he's playing Seth Rogen, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But it was very entertaining. It's still hilarious, and I love the cast. The sister is so funny. Leslie Mann is hilarious to me. She's married to the director Judd Apatow, and honestly, I feel like he's the only person that hires her, and I'm not sure why. She's so funny. She has a hilarious scene also in The 40-Year-Old Virgin where she's like, just want some French toast. She's like playing a drunk lady. Oh, it's so funny. She cracks me up. Anyway, do things in real life. Call somebody. Write a letter. You know, give somebody a hug that you missed. Come on. We need to get off the phone and into the real world. And guess what? When you do that, they can't control you. Because I know you don't want to believe it, but they do try to control you through your phone, through the TV, through the messaging. And I'm not just saying they. There is a concerted effort to control your energy and to control your brain because they think they're smarter than you. You can call them the deep state, you can call them the Illuminati, you can call them the elites, you can call them whatever you want, but it's a real thing. And if you took a break from your phone, like literally set it down all day and didn't deal with it outside of taking a phone call, you wouldn't believe how much extra energy you have. This shit is manipulating you and depressing you and frustrating you and angering you because these algorithms know what you like and they just feed it to you. So if they want you to get mad, they know you're going to get mad watching something, they just feed you 6 videos like that. You know, come on, wake up.